Do you see how coming to this prayer in the context of Matthew's Sermon on the Mount is awesome? Jesus, who says, love your enemy and pray for those who persecute you, who says, be perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect, teaches us to pray, and Father, forgive us our debts. See? Jesus is dead serious about the agenda that he sets in front of his followers. But of course, he knows there's going to be failure en route. And we meet the gospel in these words. Father, forgive us our debts. Forgiveness is, of course, this fundamentally important theme running straight across the biblical message. It's critical in Matthew's gospel. Matthew's gospel, you meet demand after demand after demand, yeah? But when you come to the climax, in these events that we're going to remember this weekend, Jesus takes the bread and he takes the cup and he speaks these words over the cup. This is my blood of the covenant that's spilled for many for the forgiveness of sins. And it's only Matthew, actually, that has that last little bit in there, for the forgiveness of sins. He wants to make it fundamentally clear to his readers that the death of Jesus is the only thing that rescues us. God is doing for us in Jesus what we can never do for ourselves. It's for this reason you remember that in chapter 1, the angel says to Joseph, you'll call his name Jesus because he'll rescue his people from their sins. Right? So, we meet the gospel in the middle of the Lord's Prayer. Father, forgive us our debts. But of course, it's also true that we meet the whole gospel. We meet Jesus' version of the gospel in the middle of the Lord's Prayer. When Jesus invites us to pray, Father, forgive us our debts, as we also have forgiven our debtors. It's a little bit crazy when you think about it, isn't it? So let me just say, I don't think I'd pray this if Jesus didn't ask me to. This sits uncomfortably with lots of us theologically, because we've been accustomed to thinking that God's grace is unconditional, that it doesn't come with conditions. But I don't think that's actually Jesus' gospel, and I don't think it's the gospel that we meet across the New Testament. Do you see? That Jesus teaches us to pray, Father, forgive us our debts as we also have forgiven our debtors. And it's the only one of the petitions in the Lord's Prayer that he comments on coming out the other end. You see 6:14 and 15? 6:14, for if you forgive people their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. If you don't, he won't. Right? Because in Jesus' gospel, gift and demand are inextricably linked. If you rip them apart, you're not left with Jesus' gospel. In the gospel that Jesus tells, God is doing for you in his own mission what you could never do for yourself. He's rescuing you. But he doesn't give you the option of opening your hands to receive his forgiveness while you clench your fist and refuse his demand on your life.